One of Hollywood's longest-lasting married couples calls it quits. ABC News confirms that Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman, husband and wife for 30 years, have decided to separate.
Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito were once one of Hollywood's favorite couples. She made us laugh on Cheers, and he stole hearts in Taxi and Matilda. Together, they built a beautiful life, raising a family while chasing big dreams. But behind the smiles and red carpet moments, things weren't always easy. They separated, stayed close, and confused many fans for years. Were they together? Were they apart? And now, at 77, Rhea finally opens up about what really happened and whether or not divorce became the answer after all these years. Join us as we dive deep into their unforgettable love story and what tore it apart. Rhea Perlman, a Brooklyn girl with big dreams. Rhea Perlman was born on March 31, 1948 in Coney Island, Brooklyn. Her parents were hard-working people. Her father, Philip Perlman, had come to America from Poland. He managed a doll parts factory to support the family. Her mother, Adele, worked as a bookkeeper. Rhea grew up in the Bensonhurst neighborhood in Brooklyn. She was raised in a close Jewish family, with roots reaching back to Russia, too. Rhea wasn't an only child. She had a sister named Haida, who also found her way into television later on. Haida became a writer and producer, working on famous shows like Cheers, Frasier, and The Tracy Ullman Show. In the mid-1980s, her parents moved to Los Angeles. Her father, Philip, even found his way onto TV, just like his daughter. He became an extra on Cheers, playing a character known simply as Phil. Over the years, he got a few speaking lines and appeared in over 30 episodes. He later acted in other shows and movies too, like Throw Mama from The Train and Frasier. As a young woman, Rhea knew she loved acting. She studied drama at Hunter College in New York City and earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1968. She was determined to make her mark, and it wouldn't be long before she did. Rhea Perlman's rise to stardom. Rhea started her acting career with small roles. Her first major step was in an off-Broadway play called Dracula Sabbat, which ran from 1970 to 1971. She then had a tiny part in the 1972 film Hot Dogs for Gauguin. After that, Rhea also took part in a feminist theater production called Up, an uppity revue. Even though the show was small, it mattered. It showed she had the courage to perform and the heart to stick with tough roles. In 1978, she landed a recurring role on the TV show Taxi. She played Zena, the sweet and supportive girlfriend of Louis De Palma, a character who would become very important to her personal life later. After Taxi, Rhea's biggest break came in 1982 when she was cast as Carla Tortelli on Cheers. Carla was tough, funny, and unforgettable. Rhea's performance quickly won the hearts of audiences across America. Although Cheers struggled in its first season, it grew into one of the most beloved shows on TV. It ran for 11 seasons, won 20 Emmy Awards out of 95 nominations, and made history. Rhea herself won 4 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy. She was nominated nearly every year and earned 6 Golden Globe nominations too, more than anyone else in her category. In 2011, NBC even named Carla Tortelli one of the greatest TV characters of all time. Her success on Cheers made Rhea a household name, but while she was busy building her career, someone else was also finding his place in Hollywood, someone whose path would soon cross hers. A young man named Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito was born in Neptune Township, New Jersey. He grew up with 2 older sisters in a family full of love and energy. His father, Daniel DeVito Sr., ran a small business, and his mother, Julia, took care of the home. Danny's family roots came from Italy and Albania. He grew up in Asbury Park, New Jersey, just a few miles away from what would later become the first Jersey Mike's sub shop. That connection would bring him back to Jersey Mike's much later in life as a spokesman. As a teenager, Danny was full of life, maybe even a little too much. At 14, his parents decided it would be good for him to go to boarding school to stay out of trouble. He graduated from Oratory Preparatory School in Summit, New Jersey in 1962. At first, Danny didn't set out to become an actor. He worked in his sister's beauty salon as a beautician. It was while looking for professional makeup classes that he stumbled onto acting classes at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. It changed his life forever. He graduated from there in 1966, fully committed to a career on stage and screen. Danny DeVito began his acting journey in the late 1960s. He performed off-Broadway in small plays like Shoot Anything with Hair That Moves and The Man with the Flower in His Mouth. He got his first movie role in 1970 in a drama called Dreams of Glass. It wasn't a major hit, but it was a start. He went on to land small parts in films like Lady Liberty, 1971, Hurry Up, or I'll Be 30, 1973, and Deadly Hero, 1975. Danny's big moment came when he played Martini in the stage version of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. When the play was adapted into a movie in 1975, he was invited to reprise his role. The film became a major success and won 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Danny kept working steadily through the 1970s. He even appeared in an episode of Starsky and Hutch as John the Apple D'Apolliso in 1977. But it was in 1978 that everything changed for him. That year, Danny landed the role of Louis De Palma in the new TV show Taxi. Louis was loud, bossy, and a little mean, but also strangely lovable. Danny's performance was unforgettable. He won both a Primetime Emmy Award and a Golden Globe for the role. Taxi became a hit, and Danny became a star. His career in television took off, opening the doors for many movie roles later. Danny DeVito, the movie star. After making a name for himself on Taxi, Danny moved into film full-time. He took on a variety of roles that showed just how talented he was. In 1983, he played Vernon Dalhart in Terms of Endearment, a movie that went on to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. It proved Danny could do more than comedy. He could act in serious films too. Danny starred in a string of successful movies through the late 80s and 90s. Some of his most memorable roles were in Ruthless People, 1986, Throw Mama from the Train, 1987, Twins, 1988, alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger, The War of the Roses, 1989, and Batman Returns, 1992, where he famously played the Penguin. He also directed, produced, and voiced characters in animated films. He voiced Phil in Disney's Hercules, 1997, and The Lorax in The Lorax, 2012. Danny didn't just want to act, he wanted to create. He co-founded Jersey Films, which produced major movies like Pulp Fiction and Aaron Brockovich. He even produced TV shows like Reno 911 through Jersey Television. Through it all, Danny showed he was more than a funny man. He was a force in Hollywood, both in front of the camera and behind it. And soon, in the middle of all this success, his path would officially cross again with someone special, Rhea Perlman. By the late 1970s, both Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito had built strong foundations in their careers. They had faced struggles, worked small jobs, and finally tasted real success. Their hard work had paid off. They were ready for something more, not just in their professional lives, but in their personal lives too. Soon, the two rising stars would find their worlds colliding once again. Only this time, it wouldn't just be on a stage or a screen. It would be something much bigger. A love story that started on stage. Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito's story started all the way back in 1971. At the time, Rhea went to see an off-Broadway play called The Shrinking Bride. She was there to support a friend who was performing. But when she looked at the stage, her eyes didn't stay on her friend for long. Rhea couldn't help but notice a young actor, Danny DeVito. She felt something right away. In fact, she said, "I had to meet him immediately," in an interview with the New York Post. Curious, she asked her friend if Danny had a girlfriend. When she found out he didn't, she wasted no time. After the show, they all went out for dinner. Rhea later joked, "I came onto him big time." It didn't take long for things to move forward. Within a few weeks, Rhea had moved into Danny's Manhattan apartment. It was clear from the start, this was no ordinary romance. Their relationship grew strong over the years. They dated for more than a decade before finally deciding to tie the knot. On January 28, 1982, Rhea and Danny got married. The timing was special. It came just as Danny's show Taxi was ending, and a few months before Rhea's big break on Cheers. Their love story was already filled with laughter, ambition, and support, and soon it would grow even bigger, because family life was just around the corner. Building a family in Hollywood. After getting married, Rhea and Danny welcomed 3 children into their lives. Their first daughter, Lucy, was born in 1983, just a year after their wedding. Then, in 1985, Their second daughter, Grace, came into the world. 2 years later, in 1987, they completed their family with the birth of their son, Jake. Danny once proudly said, "I have 3 great kids and they were raised here in Hollywood. They went to school in the Valley. They're great kids." It was clear that family always came first for both Rhea and Danny. Each of their children grew up surrounded by art, creativity, and encouragement. Lucy showed a love for acting from an early age. As Danny remembered, Lucy was always the actress. I mean, even in kindergarten, grade school. Jake, on the other hand, loved music and movies. Grace, their middle child, followed a different path. She became a painter and an artist. Danny shared that all his children went to different colleges, showing their own unique talents. Lucy, their eldest, went on to become an actress like her parents. She studied theater at Brown University in Rhode Island before heading back to Hollywood. She worked with her father on a few projects, including a small role on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She also appeared in shows like Melissa and Joey, Deadbeat, and even the movie Jumanji, The Next Level. Although Rhea and Danny came from different religious backgrounds, Rhea being Jewish and Danny raised Catholic, they found a way to balance it at home. Rhea once explained, "Our kids are not Jewish and they're not Catholic. They're not Episcopalian, they're not Buddhist, they're not anything." Instead of picking one faith, they celebrated all kinds of holidays to keep traditions alive. For Rhea, the most important thing was raising good people, not forcing religion onto them. She said, "I feel like I'm bringing them up to be good people, and that's what it's about." As their children grew up, Rhea and Danny also worked together on screen. They played a married couple on Taxi and later in the beloved movie Matilda, based on the famous Roald Dahl novel. Their chemistry, both on and off screen, was easy to see. Through the years, their family stayed strong, even as life continued to change around them. Cracks in marriage. Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito were together for more than 40 years and stayed close through thick and thin. But by 2012, their relationship began to shift. That October, the couple announced their separation after 30 years of marriage. It was a surprise to many. They had been one of Hollywood's most lasting couples. Even though they separated, it didn't take long before there were signs of hope. In March 2013, they got back together. People believed they had worked things out. But in 2017, they separated again. This time, it seemed more final. Still, they remained married. They were no longer a couple, but they never divorced. Rhea later opened up about the situation. Speaking on Julia Louis-Dreyfus's podcast, Wiser Than Me, she said, "We are still very good friends and we see each other a lot, and our family is still the most important thing to both of us." It was clear that their bond hadn't broken. It had only changed. They were no longer husband and wife in the traditional way, but they still cared deeply for one another. Rhea also said, "I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was difficult. It was very difficult at first." She explained there were many reasons for the separation. "There were a lot of reasons that we separated, which I'm not going to go into, but it took time for us to come to this somehow pretty decent understanding and relationship with each other. It was honest. It was real. And it showed just how much effort went into their journey. Separate lives, shared love." After their second separation in 2017, Rhea and Danny decided to live apart. They no longer shared a home, but they remained close. For many years, they lived in a 14,579 square foot mansion in Beverly Hills. They had bought it together in 1994. But in April 2015, they sold the house for $24 million. But that wasn't their only property. They also owned a bungalow near Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. On top of that, they had a multi-residence compound in Malibu on Broad Beach. To escape the noise of Los Angeles, they would often visit a home they owned in Interlaken, New Jersey. Even though they had built a life under one roof, selling the Beverly Hills home seemed like a sign that things were changing. A real estate source confirmed the sale had been done quietly. Some believed it was a step toward fully moving on. Danny and Rhea were often private about their personal matters. Friends said the couple kept things quiet to protect their grown-up kids. They've both been leading separate lives for a while now, and it appears that it's going to stay that way, a source said. While their homes and addresses may have changed, their love for their family didn't. Even as they lived apart, they showed respect and care for one another. That part never changed. Rhea even joked on the podcast that she now lives alone with her dog. "My dog is my partner in life now," she said with a smile. Despite the shift, she had found peace in her new way of living. Rumors, reconciliations, and quiet decisions. The public always wants answers, and when a famous couple splits, stories start to spread. Some sources blame Danny's behavior for the trouble. One insider claimed he had a wandering eye. They said, Danny can be quite the flirt. Others said he skipped date nights with Rhea to hang out with younger friends. There were even rumors that he had a girlfriend while doing a play in London during the summer of 2012. According to Radar Online, Rhea finally snapped. She had enough of his bad boy behavior and wanted to end their marriage. Friends of the couple added, "This time it looks like the end." A report from the Daily Mail echoed this, saying Danny used his powerful Hollywood status to flirt with younger women. But even with all the whispers, Danny managed to win her back, at least for a while. "He must have worked some magic and begged on his knees," a source said, referring to their 2013 reconciliation. But it didn't last forever. By 2016, reports claimed they were finally calling it quits for good. After more than 3 decades of marriage, the two were said to be working out a $140 million divorce. Yet no divorce was ever officially filed. They continued to live their lives separately, but with respect and love. Through it all, they stayed focused on their children. Lucy, Grace, and Jake were always a priority. Friends shared, the reason that they haven't announced a bust-up is they wanted to keep it quiet for the sake of their grown-up kids. Still close, still family. Despite all the ups and downs, one thing remained true. Danny and Rhea still had each other's back. In a 2019 interview with People, Danny confirmed their bond. "We're friends," he said. "We're happy. Everybody's happy." Even though they no longer lived under the same roof, they still saw each other often. They shared holidays, family events, and milestones together. They were there for their kids. And now they're also there for their granddaughter. In 2023, Rhea shared that they had become grandparents for the first time. On the Wiser Than Me podcast, she said, "It just happened 7 weeks ago. It's amazing. Everybody said it'll change your life when you have a grandchild, and it does." She revealed the baby was a girl named Sinclair Lucille DeVito. Although her daughter is married, she chose to keep the DeVito name for her child. That simple act said a lot about the importance of family ties. In interviews, Rhea has made it clear she has no plans to file for divorce. When asked why, she simply said, "What for?" She explained that even though they live separately, they see each other a lot. Their bond didn't end with their breakup. Instead, it changed. And in some ways, it got stronger. "Danny and I have always loved each other, and we have 3 amazing children together," Rhea said. "We really agree on almost everything important." For Rhea, the decision not to divorce isn't about hanging on. It's about respect. It's about family. And most of all, it's about love that doesn't always need a label. Even Danny agrees. In 2019, he told People, "We're friends, we're happy, everybody's happy." And just like that, they've created a bond that many find surprising and inspiring. But it wasn't always easy. Though Rhea and Danny live separately now, their connection is still strong. They've been through many phases: young love, marriage, children, separation, and now grandparenthood. They've lived different lives, but never completely apart. As Rhea herself put it, "It took time for us to come to this somehow pretty decent understanding." That understanding now shapes their new chapter, one of friendship, family, and moving forward together, just in a different way. The breakup was tough, but friendship won. Rhea Perlman hasn't hidden the fact that the separation was painful. On Julia Louis-Dreyfus's podcast, Wiser Than Me, she opened up about the emotional toll it took. "I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was difficult," she said. "Very difficult at first." She didn't share all the reasons for the breakup, but made it clear that it was a big shift. They had been together for decades, and suddenly, everything was different. "There were a lot of reasons that we separated, which I'm not going to go into," she added. "But it took time for us to come to this, somehow pretty decent understanding and relationship with each other. Now they are in a place where things feel calmer. There's no tension, no drama, just understanding. It's much better," she said, "because all the tense stuff is gone. Not in your face, I'm not in his, he's not in mine." It wasn't just about moving on. It was about learning how to stay close, even when things change. Surprisingly, Rhea and Danny may be even closer now than they were before their separation. In 2019, Rhea told Andy Cohen, "We've become better friends than we were as a married couple. They still talk often. Rhea said during the same interview, "We talk today." That level of communication shows just how close they remain. And it's not just phone calls. They still support each other in public. Rhea has attended several of Danny's movie premieres, including Jumanji: The Next Level in 2019. Danny, too, continues to cheer her on. At the 75th Emmy Awards, while presenting with the cast of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he gave a sweet shout-out to Rhea. As they joked about never winning an Emmy, Danny reminded everyone that he had won one for Taxi, and that Rhea had won 4 for Cheers. When the camera cut to Rhea in the audience, she was laughing and smiling. Danny later said, "She's a good actress, and I love working with her." Their bond isn't just emotional, it's creative too. Over the years, they've worked together on several projects, including Taxi and Matilda. That teamwork never faded, working together on and off screen. You see, Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito didn't just share a home and a family, they also shared the screen. Their creative bond was just as strong as their personal one, and through the years, they teamed up on some unforgettable projects. Their first big collaboration was on the hit television series Taxi. From 1978 to 1983, Danny played the loud and bossy dispatcher Louis De Palma. Rhea appeared as Zena, Louis's kind-hearted girlfriend. The two had great chemistry, and it wasn't just acting. It was a real reflection of their connection off-screen. Fans loved watching them together, and their scenes always stood out. But perhaps their most beloved project was the 1996 film Matilda. The movie was based on Roald Dahl's classic children's book. Danny directed the film and also played the role of Mr. Wormwood, Matilda's crooked and clueless father. Rhea played Mrs. Wormwood, a flashy and self-absorbed mother who cared more about looks than books. Though they played terrible parents in the film, behind the scenes, it was the exact opposite. Danny and Rhea brought warmth, care, and humor to the set. They treated the young cast, especially Mara Wilson, who played Matilda, with kindness and love. Mara has spoken fondly of how supportive they were, especially during difficult times in her personal life while filming. Danny once said, "She's a good actress and I love working with her." That feeling was mutual. Their ability to balance humor, timing, and real emotion made their scenes shine. Even after their separation, their respect for each other's talents never faded. They continued to show up for each other, not just as co-parents or friends, but as artists. Rhea attended Danny's premieres. Danny gave Rhea shout-outs at major award events. It wasn't just about looking back. They always showed up with pride for each other's present. Whether playing love interests or quirky partners, Rhea and Danny brought a kind of magic to their work that felt real, because it was. Their projects together are a reminder that even when relationships change, true creative partnerships can last a lifetime. Now the question is, what does their life look like now? Although they live apart, Rhea and Danny are far from alone. Rhea enjoys her quiet time, but not all the time. "I don't like living alone. I like being alone," she said. "It's a small difference, but an important one." She explained how, during her marriage, she used to love having the house to herself for a few days. "When Danny went away to do something, I was like, oh good, I have 2 weeks where I can do whatever I want. But now, with no one else coming back, that freedom feels different. When it's every day, it's not my favorite," she admitted. Even so, she stays surrounded by loved ones. Her sister visits often, so do her children, and now that she's a grandmother, she also gets visits from her grandchild. Loneliness may visit her from time to time, but it never stays too long. Because in Rhea's world, family never drifts too far. And even though Rhea and Danny no longer live together, they continue to show what it means to care deeply, even when love looks different. They've chosen not to divorce, not because of fear or habit, but because they've built something that still works for them. When asked if she was open to dating again, Rhea joked, "Unless it's someone really wonderful, rich and famous, gorgeous, and a lot younger than me." Her comment was lighthearted, but it showed that she's happy where she is. She doesn't need anyone to complete her. Rhea and Danny's story proves that relationships don't have to follow the rules. Love can evolve, and sometimes what starts as a marriage becomes something else, something just as powerful. "We do live separately. We see each other a lot too," Rhea said. And through it all, their family stays at the center of everything. As Rhea summed it up best, "Our family is still the most important thing to both of us." Their journey isn't simple. It's not perfect, but it's real. And it's lasting. It shows that sometimes relationships don't fit the usual mold, but they can still be full of laughter, pride, and deep connection. What do you think about Rhea and Danny's decision to stay married but live separately? And the fact that after everything, they still don't want a divorce. Does that change how you see love and commitment? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from Hollywood's fascinating history. See you next time.